Hi everyone and welcome back. My name is Sarah for those of you that have not practiced to date, and I'll be guiding you through your practice here today. So today's class is our 9th class for the 10 mini flows for 10 days. And today's class is focused on a mellow flow. So we'll be moving a little bit more slowly, a little bit more mindfully. I invite you to use some props if you have some at home. If you don't, get a little bit creative. Props are just a really good tool to use within our practice because they can help poses be a little bit more accessible, even a little bit more comfortable, and they can actually help us progress deeper into our poses from a place of safety. So when you're ready, we're going to begin in a child's pose. So you can come to take that child's pose with the knees together, or you can take the knees out wide to the long edges of the mat. Whatever you're taking, if you're taking the knees together, you're bringing the forehead down towards the mat or resting it on a block if it's hovering in the air and the hands are coming back behind us. If you are taking the option of knees wide, we're just reaching the hands ahead of us. Same thing, you can place the head on a block. And I'm coming to lower the forearms down if the arms are stretched out in front of us. And coming to find your version of your child's pose here. And then just start to notice how you've come into this posture. Could you find a sense of comfortability elsewhere within the body? Maybe that means you walk the arms in towards the body a little bit more. Maybe it means that you come out of the posture completely and come back in, taking your time to set up here. And then once you've found your way into your child's pose, coming to maybe close down the eyes or just taking a soft gaze here. And starting to tune your focus inwards. And maybe bringing some awareness to the breath. To where the breath might be within the body. Allowing the breath to assist you here in this pose. And taking 2 to 3 more rounds of breath where you are. Always know that the options are there to come out of these poses a little bit earlier if you start to sense any discomfort, but feel free to also stay there a bit longer if that is also calling to you. And this is your practice. I'm simply guiding you here today. Always feel free to subtract or add on. On your next breath, coming to lift the forehead off the mat and then slowly and gently coming to walk the hands in towards the body if they're extended, or if the arms are back behind you, coming up to roll. Rolling the spine up. The chin is the last thing to come up. Really gently moving slowly here. Sometimes if we come up a little bit too fast, it can cause the body to feel a little bit out of sorts sometimes. Beautiful. So then on your next breath, coming to find yourself in a tabletop. So we're bringing the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips or thereabouts. Gaze is down towards the mat in between the hands. And then we're going to move through cat-cow here. So on your next breath, coming to tilt the tailbone up towards the sky, dipping the stomach towards the mat. Chest comes slightly through as the gaze comes towards the mat for cow pose. So we're creating a subtle arch through the mid to lower back here. On your next breath, drawing the chin in towards the chest. As you do so, tucking the tailbone under, lifting the spine up towards the sky, doming through the upper back as you push the mat away from you for cat pose. And then moving very slowly and mindfully here in your own pace between these two motions. Using the breath to guide you. Maybe if there's a place along the way that you want to pause or spend a little bit longer in, feel free to attend to that part of the body that is speaking to you. And taking one more round of each. So one more round of cat and cow. And when you're finished, we'll find our way back into a tabletop. So finding your neutral spine, bringing your gaze towards the mat to create length through the neck. And then on your next breath, drawing the hips back towards the heels, coming to find that child's pose with the arms extended. And the forehead might come to the mat, it might not reach, but keeping the chin in towards the chest, we're coming back up and think cat here. So coming into that cat, and then find your cow pose. Coming back to neutral, back to tabletop, and then drawing the hips back, finding child's pose. Chin in towards the chest, rounding through the upper back as you come up, finding cat pose. And lifting the tailbone up towards the sky, chest comes through for cow. Coming back through neutral, taking that one more round. So coming to bring the hips back towards the heels for child's pose. Balasana. Drawing the chin in towards the chest, coming up for cat, and then coming to find cow pose. Coming back through neutral, and coming to bring the hands, a handprint ahead of the shoulders, coming to tuck the toes. Maybe even sending the hips back towards the heels ever so slightly, just a fraction, about a centimetre, before you start to feel some pressure into the toes building up, and then come to hover the knees and lift the hips up and back for down dog. Generous bend in the knees here to begin with, if that helps you to create space. And just taking a moment in your down dog to really find your foundations here. Exploring, maybe taking the feet a little bit wider, maybe turning the hands out, maybe in, just finding a different version of down dog that might feel a bit more comfortable for you than your usual version. Within a more mellow, slow pace of classes in yoga, it gives you more time to explore, tune into the body, and just listen to yourself a little bit differently. There's more time to think and more time to act. And come to find some stillness. And when you're ready, coming to gently tiptoe your way towards the top of the mat, finding yourself in a forward fold. So your forward fold could be that you're bringing the elbows towards the thighs, generous bend in the knees, gazes down, or maybe fingertips towards the mat or palms towards the mat. There's always the option to use blocks as well. But we're allowing the chest theoretically to drape over the top of the thighs. So maybe bending into the knees, and allowing the head and neck to hang heavy here. And really feeling into the foundations through the feet, through the big toe, the little toe, the heel of the foot. And then coming up into a version of halfway lift. So coming to straighten through the legs, offering a little micro bend still in the knees here. Bringing your prop underneath you so it's in the middle of the feet. And bringing the right hand towards your prop and allowing the right knee to bend. As you bend through that right knee, we're going to straighten through the left leg, and we're sending the left arm out towards the side at shoulder height. And then maybe you stay here, or maybe you continue to rotate that arm up towards the sky. Maybe the gaze follows. Or maybe the hand is towards the hip, just exploring once again what feels right for your alignment and your anatomy here. And taking a round of breath. And then bringing the gaze back down towards the mat. Bringing the arm, the left hand back down with you, taking a moment in your forward fold. And from your forward fold, come to place, coming up to a version of halfway lift, so coming to straighten through the legs, offering a little micro bend as we then place the left hand down onto your prop. Coming to bend through the left knee, straightening the right leg as we then send the right arm out towards the right side. Maybe you continue to rotate the chest over towards the right side as you send the right hand up towards the sky. The gaze might follow or it might stay down towards the mat. Coming to tune into the breath. And then bringing that right hand back down to the earth. Coming to turn to face the front of the mat, coming to find forward fold one last time. And then on your next breath, allowing the hands to hang out heavy as we come up to rise for a version of ragdoll. The chin is in towards the chest, coming up really, really slowly, really feeling and tuning into the spine as it comes up piece by piece. And as you finally come to standing, as the chin comes up, we bring the hands up beside the body, circling them up towards the sky. Palms might meet as they draw down through heart center. And then bring the hands beside the body for Tadasana. And coming maybe to close down the eyes here, or soft gaze. And just taking a moment to feel the connection of the foundations beneath the feet. Come to notice where your weight is distributed more. Is it to the external edges of the feet or the internal? Maybe to the front or the back. Maybe you even experiment with coming forward onto the toes and onto the heels and coming over side to side before finding your center again. Noticing if it feels any different here from the first internal reflection. And then coming to open up the eyes if you've closed down the eyes. Coming to heel toe the feet out so that the toes are facing the long edge of the mat. The feet are out past the hips. We're coming through Malasana here. So this is Yogi Squat. If you know that your heels hover or you don't know that your heels hover, and they might, you can always feel free to roll up your mat to create like a little bit of a lip, which will help to elevate the heels. You can also use a blanket if you have a blanket, and you're just going to use that to help the heels. If you don't mind the heels hovering, then you can stay with that also. So bring the hands up towards the sky. As the palms meet and they draw down through heart center, we're going to bend the knees and we're coming to find ourselves into Malasana. So the elbows are inside where the knees are, the thighs are, and they're gently helping to guide the knees out. Once again, you can invite some props in. If it's a little bit too much for you coming that low, you can always bring in some blocks and props to sit up and elevate on. We're looking to create length through the spine, the chest is open, the gaze is forward. So we're trying to create some length and space here as opposed to rounding forward into the pose. And coming to tune into the breath here. And then on your next breath, bringing the hands down in front of you, coming to lift the hips up and come to turn the toes to face the front of the mat. Once again, you can use a prop here to elevate you up. So we're coming to find a forward fold here. And then on your next breath, turning the toes back out, coming to lower yourself down into Malasana. And we're going to move between these two motions here, but moving with the breath, moving with a slow rhythm. So bringing the hands down to the prop or to the earth, turning the toes to face the front of the mat as you find forward fold, a wide-legged forward fold. Turning the toes back to face the long edges of the mat, coming down to find Malasana, your Yogi Squat. Taking 2 rounds of breath here. And we're going to take one more round like so, bringing the hips up, coming to turn the toes to face the front of the mat, finding your forward fold. And coming to turn the toes back out, sinking the hips down, coming to find Malasana. And take in 2 more rounds of breath here. And bringing the hands back down to your prop or to the earth, coming to lift the hips up, turning the toes towards the front of the mat and heel toe your feet in so you're in a normal stance, forward fold. Then coming to find a halfway lift, bringing the hands towards the shins, the back is flat, might be a little micro bend in the knees, but the legs are aiming towards straight. And then come to place the hands down towards the mat, or once again down to some props if you like to be elevated. And we're coming to place that right leg back behind us. So come to step the right foot back to the back of the mat for a low lunge here. Come to lower that right knee, untuck the toes and come up to rise for low lunge. Bringing the hands up to the sky or maybe towards heart center. And coming to tune into the breath. And then come to notice how your pelvic area is feeling here, how your back is feeling. Maybe exploring with tucking the tailbone under and untucking the tailbone and just seeing what alignment feels right for you here. And then come to find some stillness. Once you've found that place of sensation but comfortable sensation. And take in 1 more round of breath here. And the option is once again to either use the props, you can take them outside of the left foot, both sides, or you can bring the hands down towards the earth. Coming to frame that left foot, I'm going to draw the hips back as we do so. The left toes peel off of the mat and come towards the face for a variation of half splits. Taking a round of breath here. Maybe finding that halfway lift and then maybe coming to fold a little bit deeper over the top of that left thigh. Maybe you're moving in and out between these two motions, or maybe you might like to move between low lunge to half splits. Or maybe you're finding your stillness. And bending back through that left foot. Coming to remove any props or keeping them close by if you're using them. Then coming to frame that left foot, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and come to step that left foot back to meet the right foot. If it doesn't quite step back, just take some little slides and a little bunny hop before gently placing the knees down towards the mat. Untucking the toes and coming to send the hips back towards the heels, bringing the hands back behind you for child's pose. And take in 3 to 4 rounds of breath here. And really tuning into the body and noticing what there might be to notice already here in your practice. And coming back up when you're ready into tabletop, taking the hands a handprint ahead of you, coming to tuck the toes under and then lifting the hips up and back for down dog. Maybe taking a moment to pedal out the feet before finding some stillness. Might be a nice generous bend in the knees as we energetically send the sit bones up towards the sky. And then on your next breath, coming to extend the right leg back behind you for three-legged dog. Come to bend the knee, bring the knee towards the chest as you step the foot through. If it doesn't quite make it, if it makes it towards the middle, just hop the foot through or really dome through the upper back to help create that space to bring that right foot through. Come to lower the left knee down towards the mat, untuck the toes and coming up to rise. Coming to find your low lunge on this side. And once again, just exploring with the tuck of the tailbone, maybe untucking and just noticing what sensation feels good for you. Before finding maybe hands to heart center or the hands above the head. Coming to notice what there is to notice. Maybe you're noticing that the knee doesn't feel so comfortable. Maybe you place a blanket underneath the back of that knee. Utilising any props to help you feel good within your practice. And then coming to either use those props to frame the right foot or bring the hands down towards the earth as we draw the hips back. Right toes peel off the mat, coming towards the face as we find half splits. Once again, there is that option to move in and out of low lunge to half splits. Or maybe you're taking that option of coming halfway lift and folding over the top of the leg. Just finding your variation here. Coming to tune into the body, into the breath. Allow the breath to help you find your rhythm within this posture. And then coming to bend back through that right knee. Coming to move any props, so if you're using them, keeping them close by. And then come to frame that right foot. Come to tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. And really think about that cat pose here. Think about creating space between your chest and your thigh. And maybe that is where the props come in to assist you here. And then start to rock backwards and forwards on that back toe. And we're coming to step towards the top of the mat. And once again, you can take some little bunny hops, or you can come to hover the leg for a brief moment in the air before placing the left foot down towards the right. Coming to find forward fold, your variation, before firming down through the feet, coming up to rise, circling the arms out nice and wide. Bringing the hands back down through heart center, and bringing the hands beside the body for Tadasana. And then coming to face your long edge of your mat, we're coming to find a wide-legged fold here. So once again, just having any props close by. And coming to find your stance in your wide-legged fold. So if you haven't practiced wide-legged fold before, just start with a semi kind of normal stance. So maybe just a little bit outside of your hip width. And then you can add on from there. So coming to either turn the toes in, toes out, toes might be facing forward. Once again, work with your anatomy. So we're bringing the hands up towards the sky as the palms draw down through heart center. Bring the hands towards the hips. We're thinking about extending the chest out. So we're thinking about creating a kind of cow pose with the hips here. So yeah, if you think cow pose but in your standing pose. So bringing the chest forward, arching through the lower back, and then coming to bring the body so it's parallel towards the mat. Maybe there's a micro bend in the knees. And this might be where you want to stay. Maybe you bring the hands down towards the prop if you're using one. If you want to, you can continue to come all the way down, bring the hands down towards the mat. And once again, just noticing maybe your foot stance. Maybe you do want to explore with taking it wider or maybe more narrow. Maybe turning the toes inwards and outwards and just exploring what works for your hips here, for your pelvis here. And then on your next breath, coming to find a halfway lift. So coming up onto the fingertips or up onto that prop. And we're going to move through some variations of cat-cow here. So bring the chin in towards the chest, arch through the upper back, tuck the tailbone under. And then coming back through that cow pose, so bringing the gaze slightly forward and sending the sit bones towards the back of the room, arching through the lower back. Just moving with your breath between these two motions here. Very gently and very softly. The movements don't have to be very, very big and exaggerate. They can be like little micro movements. Little micro talks to the body. And then coming to keep this right hand down towards the block, maybe bringing in a little bit more of a micro bend into the knee as we send this left hand out towards the side. You might stay here or you might like to extend the arm up towards the sky. Staying here for a round of breath. Before coming back through center nice and slowly. Coming to lower down a little bit deeper into your forward fold in your wide-legged forward fold. Coming up for that halfway lift, bringing the left hand to the prop or to the earth, sending the right arm out towards the side. Maybe you're staying here with a slight twist, or maybe you're sending that right arm up towards the sky. Taking a round of breath here. And then coming to gently bring that right hand back down towards the earth, finding that forward fold. And taking 3 more rounds of breath here. Maybe if you are coming down towards the earth a bit deeper, maybe you're taking hold of opposite elbows and allowing the head and neck to hang heavy here. And then on your next breath, bring the hands underneath the shoulders or onto your prop. As we slowly start to come to bring the feet back into one another. So heel toeing the feet in together, coming to find a forward fold. And then coming to bend through the legs, coming up to rise. Circling the hands up, hands come above the head as we then draw them down through heart center and bringing the hands beside the body for Tadasana. And then coming to bring the hands back above the head as the palms draw down through heart center. This time come to bend the knees, fold over the tops of the thighs. Finding yourself in forward fold. And come to bring the hands to shins, straighten the legs, little micro bend for the knees as we find halfway lift. Gazes down towards the mat. And then come to frame the feet and step the right foot back and then the left foot. Bring the knees down towards the mat. Come to untuck the toes and then send the hips all the way back towards the heels. The arms might come back behind you or maybe they're out and ahead of you. We're coming into our final pose here, our final child's pose. So we're going to be here for about 5 to 6 rounds of breath. So really come to find your foundation. Really settle into your Balasana, your child's pose. Either feel free to stay where you are, maybe continue your practice if you're cozy and comfy where you are, or maybe you're drawing your chin towards your chest and walking the hands very, very slowly into the body, coming up to rise. Once again, thinking about your spine, drawing it up piece by piece, and coming up very softly and slowly. Chin is the last thing to come up. And deepest gratitude to each of you for your practice here today. It was an honour to guide you. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, any comments, feel free to pop them down below or send us an email. Until next time, thanks guys.